There we go. Well, welcome everybody. Glad to have you here. And my name is Lydia Kopika, and I am a partner with Juice Plus in the Tower Garden. And we're going to talk a little bit about why is it important, why would we even want to grow our own food? And we're going to talk about easy solutions for doing that. And so, our disease rates are at an all-time high, and everything we're reading about any kind of disease is we need to be eating more plants. And here's the thing, we just can't get enough vine ripened produce. Even if we buy organic, yes, of course it's better, but it still has traveled a long time. Things are picked way before they're ripe. And I'm going to start out by sharing a little slide presentation, and then we're going to have some visits to towers. So let me see here. Oops. All right, we're going to go to share screen. Here we go. Tower Gardens by Juice Plus. So first of all, what is a tower garden? It's a vertical aeroponic growing system. It uses all natural earth minerals and growing tonic, and it was developed by a man by the name of Tim Blank. And he actually had developed the living gardens, if you've ever been to Epcot and Disney World, and he developed the Tower Garden, and now he sells them exclusively through Juice Plus. I know it looks very complicated, but it actually makes a master gardener out of anybody. It's easy to install, easy to maintain, no dirt, no weeds, and it's very adjust to any temperature. So why Tower Garden? Well, there've been a lot of interest in eating local foods, and you see things on the media. The past year and a half through, our whole pandemic, there was a really big problem with food supply. Things were not on the shelves. People were really afraid of their, that they were losing their food supply. And it became very important for people to grow their own. Sometimes water can be an issue in certain parts of the country. So if you compare an aeroponic growing system to soil grown produce. So for instance, 23 pounds of lettuce grown in soil would use 71 gallons of water. If it's grown in a tower garden, it only uses 3 gallons of water. Nutritional value of fruits and veggies is dwindling. There was a great article saying that by prescribing fruits and vegetables could save hundreds of billions of dollars on healthcare costs, prescription drugs, and overall healthcare. There's a little video about how the Tower Garden works. Oops, let's go back. Oh, all right. So what can we grow? This is just a small list of some of the things that you can grow, pretty much anything that grows above ground. Some of the things that we grow outdoors, we cannot grow indoors, but anything that doesn't grow, like you can't grow carrots, or I know some people grow onions. I think we're going to see onions growing later, but trees, those sort of things you cannot grow, but any kind of greens we can grow on those. We have two systems. One is the Tower Garden Flex, which holds 20 gallons of water. It's a little bit bigger. And then the Tower Garden, the Home Edition, has a smaller footprint. They're both quite small. The Flex is only 2.5 feet wide, and the Home is only 2 feet wide. So if you're growing indoors, you could stick it in a corner anywhere. Mine usually goes in my dining room in the wintertime. We've seen lots of tower gardens in the news. O'Hare Airport, the very top one there you see is O'Hare Airport. I think it's the San Francisco Giants in San Francisco. They have tower gardens. And a lot of these places, like the ones in O'Hare Airport, they're actually growing the greens for all the restaurants in the airport. Just a couple of towers. So somebody once asked me about what it's made out of, and it is food grade PVC. And, you know, there are some other systems out there. They're not FDA approved. They're not stabilized. And, you know, ours don't have any kind of toxins in it or any harmful components. And I love these pictures of all these towers. All right, so we're going to go to, let me see. We're going to go over to Patty. 1 second. Okay, guys, I lost you now.
Are you ready? Oh, there we go.
There we go. Okay, can you guys see everybody now? All right.
Yep. Can you hear me?
Sure. Oh, Patty, what are you wearing there?
I've got my gardening apron on. So isn't that cute?
What does it say? Read it to us.
Can you read it? It says, I love gardening from my head to my toes. So yeah, that was a Christmas gift last year from our son and his girlfriend. I love it. It's got nice deep pockets. I can throw my gardening trowel and my gloves in there, and I'm not leaving things all over the yard. So, well, let me introduce myself. My name is Patty Thibodeau, and I am in Plymouth, Michigan. And I'm in my conventional garden. I have a dirt garden as well as my tower garden. And you can see behind me, I've got tomatoes planted. You can't see my green beans here at my feet, but I've got some herbs. I've got sugar snap peas. I've got peppers. I've got all kinds of things growing back here. But what you'll also see are all my tools. You know, all of these tools. I've got my shovel, my digger, my gloves, the wheelbarrow, the hoe. All of these tools represent hours of work that I have already spent in here getting this garden ready. So it was filled with weeds by March 1st, I think. How those weeds come back so fast every year, I don't know. But I had to spend hours on my hands and knees weeding. I had to bring in compost and topsoil and work that all into the soil, you know, and then the planting. So, you know, I was on my hands and knees, and there were a lot of encounters with creepy crawlies. You know, some of you might think she's crazy for going through all that trouble, but I love it. I really do. But there's probably many of you who aren't so much in love with all those activities that I just described. So you can see from the video that in the slides that Lydia showed us, that the tower garden is actually a very easy way to garden. And the bonus is you can do it inside or outdoors, winter and summer. And what I have is that bigger version, the Flex. I like this version. The smaller version wasn't available when I bought my tower garden, but I like it because it's got kind of like a built-in counter space on it. So I can put trays of seedlings on there, and you know, I can rest things on it. During the winter time, I put it down in my basement. I attach the LED grow lights, and I grow produce all winter long. So my tower garden is actually in its infancy. It's been 2 weeks since I put my seedlings in, and let me just kind of give you an up close look here. So we've got some kale going. I've got some celery and basil, and I've got some romaine and arugula. So in a couple of weeks, it'll be ready to, I'll be able to start harvesting. So, and having my salads. So I know we've got a lot of people on tonight to share their gardens. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Janie. She's going to show you what hers looks like indoors.
Well, thank you, Patty. I love how you showed your conventional garden and all the weeding and all the watering and all the work that goes into it. And then kind of our easy button for gardening are tower gardens. And I love your flex. I have one outside too on my deck. But I did buy the Tower Garden Home, which is the smaller version. And I love, love, love this for indoors because it's got 32 plant sites on it, whereas the one behind you, that Patty's, the one that you could see for Patty's, has 20. There is an extension kit that you can buy to add extra cells, but it comes as a 20 cell unit. This one comes as a 32 cell unit, which is really nice, and just a 2-foot wide base. So Tim Blank designed that so it could replace like an end table or something. So it really can fit pretty much anywhere. And the smaller version can go indoors or outdoors also, but obviously the lights, you cannot take those outdoors. They're not rated for that. But these are super handy. You can see how flexible they are. Hopefully you can see that moving there. And just to show you a little bit of what I've got growing here, I've got some gorgeous rainbow chard. So there's some rainbow chard coming. I've got some basil. I have really a lot of basil. I don't know why I planted so many things of basil, but I've got some cilantro and then some gigantic green onions.
Oh, wow.
And I've got some baby plants coming down here. So I've planted some newer things. And then there's some regular chard up there. So it is quite a variety of things that you can plant anything that is not a root vegetable really in the tower gardens. So outside you could plant more of the flowering crops like tomatoes and peppers and things like that. And so those go quite well outside, but yeah, this little smaller indoor version is super handy and really can fit anywhere. We actually installed one for a friend of ours in Chicago in her condo in the city. And so they're perfect anywhere, anytime. And it's just a nice way to take control of your food supply and eat fresh, like tower to table, just within seconds. So I will go ahead and pass it off to Claudia now, and she has some interesting facts to share.
Hello, so I'm in Houston, Texas, and I am new to Juice Plus. I don't have a tower garden yet, but I'm really looking forward to getting one very soon. One of the things that I see as an advantage for a tower garden is to help pollinators. Of course, the outdoor one. Around 75% of our food that we eat needs pollination. So pollinators are birds, butterflies, bats, and my favorite, honeybees. I don't know if I mentioned this. I'm a beekeeper. So I got into beekeeping several years ago because I love honey. And then now I'm learning all of the necessities of having bees, you know what I mean, in our environment, you know, all the great things that they do. So some of the things that I want to talk about is what you can plant in your outdoor tower garden. Pollinator loving plants are going to be basil. If you let them go to flower, pollinators love that. My honeybees are always all over that. We also lavender, the flowers of the lavender are really pretty. They smell great, and there's also medicinal purposes for lavender. And milkweed, although it's a weed, you know, the monarch butterfly, if that's in your area, they love that. You know, the caterpillars will eat that and grow into beautiful monarchs. And flowers. I know that tower gardens are for food, but if you want to beautify and kind of help out your pollinators a little bit, you know, plant some flowers, let them enjoy the nectar. Just add to the beauty of your backyard and really the environment with the pollinators. But that's all for me. I'm going to go ahead and pass it on. I think Tiffany.
Oh, I was on mute, or I was unmuted the whole time. Wow, so silent I was. Well, hi everybody. My name is Tiffany, and I'm tuning in from Michigan, just like Lydia and Patty. And I just wanted to share that with a purchase of a tower garden, you do get this free PDF cookbook, and it's called Tower Garden to Table. And honestly, it comes with so many great recipes. It's filled with beverages, salads, soups, sauces, snacks, and entrees. You could eat free for a whole week out of this thing, just with the menu that's provided here. So really great stuff. I mean, everything that's in there, all of the ingredients you can grow on your tower garden. So I think that just makes it really fun, and, you know, get your kids involved too, because, when kids are like seeing how stuff is being grown, and that just gets them really excited for it. A couple things that I wanted to mention: when you are growing your own, this is going to eliminate, you know, you're going to get to control who is touching your food. So I know with last year's scare, that was kind of a lot of people's fear. And also too, we're going to be getting rid of, there's going to be no plastic. You know, how much plastic do you use when you're buying all of your produce? The bags that we put it in and the containers that greens come in. So just think about the impact that you would be having, you know, even if you were just growing a few things. And then also too, speaking of the creepy crawlies that Patty had mentioned with her conventional garden, I've taken apart my tower garden before. And I got to tell you, I was a little bit nervous at first because I'm kind of, you know, a little bit skittish, but I don't know, there was no grossness to it at all. The roots are very clean. They're like this beautiful, almost like a hair-like feel to them. Very clean, not scary at all to take apart, and very simple to take apart, clean, and put back together. And then also too, our mission really is to get these into the homes or porches and patios, and really the schools too, of, you know, all schools across America, because we really want to get our littles on board with understanding the power of plant food in their diet. So that's all for me, and I'll pass it on to Nicole.
Great. My name's Nicole Wander, and I've actually been thinking about getting a tower garden for years. And I always thought, well, they're just too complicated. They looked really, really complicated to me. Then they were just way, way too expensive. But after seeing and hearing all the benefits, and Tiffany, you know, your environmental take on that, I really, now it's just something that, you know, I'm going to really focus on. So I'm going to get a tower garden of my own. I actually looked it up, and the Juice Plus company, they have a 12-month installment payment fee that is something I can do. And so, you know, I'm really, really excited. I'm going to get a tower garden. So yay. Thanks you guys for kind of giving me that info. So I don't know who I'm going to pass this on to.
I think
Great.
I'm
Oh, go to Karen. Karen.
my
Sorry.
tower garden just turned on to come eat with me. I don't know if you guys can hear the water running. It's actually really peaceful. I think it's almost like when people have fountains on their things. So this is the home edition. I'll go down so you can see. It's the one that is made for in the home. And I actually just took this out of my house about a month ago because I'm in Georgia. And it started to warm up enough. I was like, you know what? I can just put this outside. I took the lights off, hung them up down in the basement, and brought this outside. And so we were actually laughing before this just started, because if you look at this one port right here, I don't know what happened, but I put seeds in there, and I have a kale plant growing out of there. There's cabbage and there's a kohlrabi. So I'm not sure how that happens. That is not normal. But look at this. This is some sort of cabbage. I don't even remember. I have a ton of basil. I don't know if you can see all the basil back here. I will actually take that. I'm going to make some pesto. I don't know if you guys ever make pesto, but you can make a big batch of pesto and then even freeze pesto. And then also for when you do like Italian, if you cook sauces and cook some of that stuff, you can take all of the herbs really, but especially basil, and freeze it, put it in a little bit of water, and then freeze it in, or in oil. I choose water, and put it in ice cube trays and then freeze it. And then all you have to do is drop that basil into what you're cooking, which is awesome. So this is nasturtium, I think is the name of it. And that's an edible flower. I have peppers, I have tomatoes, I have, oh my gosh, arugula, I have Swiss chard, I have parsley and cilantro on the other side. I have so much stuff growing. It's amazing. And I am the person, I used to be like Patty, where I had an outdoor garden. I had the dirt garden, and I tell you, one year I planted it. I spent all day digging it up, getting it ready. I had bought the plants, put them in there. The next morning, guys, the stuff didn't even have the tomatoes and the cucumbers or anything on it. Something had eaten all the way down to the nub. All I had was like the stalk of it. And I went, I give up. I told my husband to build something on it because I was so tired of trying to grow a garden. And so the next year, the company came out with the tower garden. And I honestly was kind of like, no, I can't grow anything. I've never been successful. So I bought my first tower garden. I have the Flex, I have the outdoor one that's out in our yard. And I just thought, if I can grow this, but I'm going to give it 6 months, I want to make sure that if I can grow this, then I will share it with people. Well, my joke is the tower garden grows despite me. So I do fill it with a tonic every time, but a lot of times I forget to fill it with the pH. I have actually let it run out of water. I lived for 25 years in Florida. So my other tower garden was outdoors in my front yard for, let's see, I guess probably 6 years that I was there. And I would sometimes pull up Florida sun, the heat, and I would come home and all the plants were like sad and they were all wilted. And I would run over and I'd fill it up with water and plug it in and they would all perk back up and come back again. So honestly, you have to really try hard for the stuff on this not to grow. And the taste of it, I mean, I say, especially with the basil, oh my gosh, I wish this was a a scratch and sniff Zoom event, because you guys would die. The taste and the smell of that basil is just to die for. So I'm trying to think. You can grow. I think we went over so much information. I don't know that there's anything else I can cover, but we just love it. My daughter and my kids come out here and they've actually been, they just pick off the cucumbers and just eat them. And they pick off the tomatoes because it's organic, which is amazing. So I think I'm the last speaker. I want to just ask everybody if, I want to thank everybody, first of all, for coming, because I know sometimes late at night, you've been at work all day. It's, I know I've had a long day. And so taking time out to join us, we just really appreciate it. And I just want to see if anybody has any questions that we can answer that maybe weren't answered during the talk. We did such a good job. Nobody has any questions?
Well, I'm going to jump in here real quick and just emphasize what you were saying about the flavor. Like, I grow celery and lettuce, and it's like that homegrown tomato. Those are the nutrients you're tasting. So you cannot beat the nutrient density. I mean, nothing's better than vine ripened tower to table or, farm to table. You can't beat that. Anybody have any questions?
I'm actually on here. One of the things I keep meaning to do is break off. This is kohlrabi, and I'm actually just going to break it off now, and then I'm going to put it in the fridge, and we're going to have this tomorrow. So,
what is that thing you just took off?
Kohlrabi. I didn't even know what this was years ago, and then I was in the grocery store with my dad, and he grew up in the Midwest in Illinois, and he said, oh, one of his favorite vegetables was kohlrabi. And I'm like, I've never even heard of that. So when I got the tower garden, I thought, I wonder if I can grow kohlrabi. And so one of the things I love about this, guys, is that not only this is the finished vegetable. Okay. So this took a few months. This sometimes takes to get one kohlrabi, bulb. Maybe it took like 3 months. So to wait for that is a little bit of torture. But what I do, since we do a lot of smoothies, is I actually use the leaves. So as it's growing and as it's growing bigger, for several months, I've been able to take the leaves of that, and I leave some leaves on so we can keep growing and keep getting, the photosynthesis and all the nutrition. But I'll throw some of those leaves into my green smoothies. So it's never a waste. Same thing with broccoli. Broccoli, sometimes to get that head of broccoli takes a couple of months, but it starts with leaves, and you can take those leaves and throw them into, green smoothies. So nothing on the tower garden goes to waste with me. It's awesome.
That's great. All right. Thanks, everybody. I took a bunch of notes. I don't know about anybody else, and I've heard this so many times, but I still took notes. So thanks, everybody, for sharing. Thank you, everybody that attended tonight. And, if you have any questions or would like any more information on the tower, get back to the person that invited you tonight. If you don't want to grow your own vegetables, but still want to fill your body with a lot of plant foods, we have fruits and vegetables in capsules that just fill your body with phytonutrients and nutrition. And we are also looking for people to join our mission because our mission of healthy living, it's just about inspiring others and really just sharing information. So thank you everybody for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye now.
Bye, everybody. Have a great